Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for our first ever Alumni Meetup. Today we're speaking with artists that have graduated from the Advanced Diploma Programs offered through our academic partnerships. The Center for Entertainment Arts developed these programs and curriculum to provide all the artistic, technical, and professional tools required to be successful. And we're thrilled to see alumni landing at world-class studios. A huge shout out to Kwantlen Polytechnic University and Bow Valley College for providing best-in-class education to these students. For more information on locations and program offerings, please visit the CEA.ca. You'll find links to our academic partners there. Okay, let's get started.
Even has little payroll envelopes addressed to himself.
Put it down.
Welcome to I think it's our first ever alumni meetup on Zoom, which is exciting. Thank you all for joining us. How many do we have? We have 5 alumni joining us tonight. We're going to look over their reels, their graduate reels, and then talk to them about life after CEA and everything they have figured out since they graduated and how the industry has been. So let's get started. Who is a CEA? We're connectors. We connect students to industry and industry to academia. We like to say we encourage the artist, but empower the professional. We have amazing instructors that have worked on incredible films, blockbuster films, highest grossing films of all time. What can you expect from the programs? Advanced programs are 2 years, 6 terms, 24 courses, and you're in class about 20 hours a week, 12 of which are lectures, and then 8 hours in the lab. Some of the alumni joining us tonight are working at these studios, and among all the other ones that are working at amazing studios, we're having incredible alumni success since we started. And without further ado, I wanted to keep my intro short. I think I went real quick there. I want to invite Melissa to come on. Melissa Best, our VP of Education for Americas.
Hello. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Melissa, first up, we have the one and only Kent. Maybe you could introduce him. Maybe for tonight, you can introduce the artist. We'll play the reel, and then we'll get the artist on to talk about their life. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Well,
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Kent is one of our fabulous alumni that is from our second graduating class. And so, yes, we're very excited for him to tell us about his journey, how he started at his studio, all the incredible work that he put into his demo reel, and where he is today. So take it away, Matt.
It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.
Wow, that's all I can say. Wow. Are you there, Kent?
Hey, I'm here.
Hi. So my goodness, there's so much work that's gone into this reel. Even I only know a small fraction of it. And I remember this is like you were working on this pretty much since term one. You had this vision, this incredible vision, and what you pulled off in the 2 years is just absolutely incredible. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, how you got to CEA, and then all the work that you put into your reel and how got you where you are today.
Yeah. I'm so glad. I'm Kent. My name is Qingzhou Dai. I come from Shanghai. So before the CEA journey, I have already got such a long time experience working in the TV industry. So after that, I think the things I'm really good at is become a little bit boring. So it's time to open up some kind of a new journey. So yeah, by coincidentally, by lucky, a lot of things stay together. I got a chance to get into CEA to start my new dream. So the moment I graduate, it's as exciting as the first time I be in the class. The 2 years anniversary is so good. 2 years, every single course, all our instructors, they're amazing. So the thing is like people is always helping you to make you to be better you. So that's great. So the thing is once you got an idea, just keep asking. You will have a bunch of help, then help you to finish cross the goal. So that will be amazing. Like that's almost the things happening every single day in the past 2 years. So yeah, that's great.
Take myself off of mute there. Sorry about that. If you had to give inspiring artists advice, so for yourself, it's a complete career change. It's a new country. It's it was somewhat related to what you had done previously, but yet very, very different. And yeah, like I said, your incredible work got you where you're working at one of the top studios, which is just unbelievable, right out of school. Working on some incredible stuff, which I know that you can't talk about a lot of it because of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and we completely respect that. And we look forward to when that comes out. But do you have any advice for those aspiring would-be potential students or just artists in general, maybe even some current CEA students that are going through the program, and you know what it feels like when you're in those terms and the finish line maybe seems to be far away?
Yeah, the thing is like for the current student still studying in CEA, right? I just want to tell you guys, you're one of the most luckiest guy, which could probably have a bright future working in the industry, which you love. So just don't lose the chance, don't lose the opportunity. So help yourself to become better, right? Another thing is like think big, dream big, then just keep hard working. After all of that, all you need is just luck. And if you just really keep hard working, luck got knock your door sooner or later. So don't worry about your future. Do your best, then we'll get best. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's amazing advice. And I mean, you were a class rep as well. So you were a leader within your class, I mean, within the school, guiding fellow artists and stuff like that, as well as, one of the first students that was at CEA. So that was, we thank you a lot for doing that as well, and just being an inspiration to your fellow classmates and everybody else.
Yeah. So actually, I gotta thanks all my fellows in our class. So basically, the class rep, we are just doing more communication between our teacher crew to our students. Maybe sometimes some people, they have some kind of communication issues, but yeah. So basically, helping people, it is a part of my previous job, and it is becoming a part of my life. Yeah, that's my honor. I always say that's my honor to helping people, to especially working at class representative. That's super great job for me. So I'm so glad to be a part of CEA. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to move on to the next artist, but we're definitely going to have some Q&A after this. Did you have any last minute things that you wanted to talk about? And then we'll open it up to like a group kind of round circle thing in a little bit.
Yeah. So actually, I think I'm not good enough to be the beginning first one. So I don't want to waste the rest of the time. Enjoy the day, guys. Let everybody just shine together. Yeah.
Oh, no, you did wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. We'll talk a little bit later on this call. Thank you so much, Kent.
Thank you, Mel.
I know. Closure. Ouch. Am I right?
I don't know at all what you're saying right.
I know. Closure. Ouch. Am I right?
I don't know at all what you're saying right.
Look, I feel like I'm supposed to give you some kind of wisdom, but I have no idea what it is. I'm just two.
I am here. Hello.
Hi, so great to see you. Thanks for joining us
thank
tonight. I know
My
you're very,
pleasure.
very busy, as is all the other of the alumni. You have a really cool story as well. I don't know, can you share what studio you're currently working at?
Yeah, I'm not sure how cool my story is, but basically, I got a chance. Like, I was very lucky to get to school to CA after graduating high school. So I'm pretty fresh in the industry, and yeah, it was just an amazing experience being a CA because as I'm currently working, I discovered that everything we were taught in CA is something that I'm repeating on my daily basis at school. And this is something that really helped me to keep up with other amazing people with whom I'm currently colleagues with. And yeah, just thank you very much for having me on this ride and on this call as well.
Oh my goodness. Well, with all your hard work, I mean, it's incredible to see where you've gotten. So you landed your current job shortly after graduation, if I remember correctly. What would you say to, aspiring artists, the ones that are about to graduate perhaps, or those that are looking to choose their specialty? There's a lot of students that are in term 5, going to term 6, the later terms, and there's so many different options. I don't know if animation was just your calling and you felt it and you're like, that's for me. But what would you say to the students that are like, there's so many things to choose from, I don't know what to choose from? Any advice for them?
To be honest, yes, for me, animation was a calling, but I stand on the opinion that the more you can learn, the better. And you can always, at least at some stages, you have a chance to be a part of not only animation, but for example, like when you're interested in other things, you could potentially get a chance to do this. And if you know more things than just your specialty, you could be a more versatile asset to the team. And that's always great. And you can always figure out, and you can always change your specialty. I can see so many people who switch from being an animator to being an effects artist. And it's really a fluid thing. I feel like you just have to, you don't have to, you just, it would be great if you could discover something that really drives you. And then you just invest your time and try to like produce work which is like an industry standard, and this it's gonna can get you started, and then you can think about if this is a thing that you want to do like for like potentially future 10 years, or you could and want to develop your like skills in something else, because truly there are so many new specialties that are developing, and you just can't learn, like you have a great big base, and then you can just build upon it. So yeah, just be open-minded. This is like the general summary of this.
I love that. You're right. There's so many new positions, so many new specialties that are opening, some that haven't even been developed yet, right? Especially with all the new technology and all the new
especially
workflows.
With VR, AR, XR, like stagecraft, everything like this is a great mix of keyframe mockup, it's visual effects, it's all real time. So, and these artists who work with this like innovative specialty, they require a very broad like skill set, which you can't acquire if you're just locked into like one area of like study. So try to pick here and there, like try to develop an interest in every specialty that you're offered. And in CA, you have like a broad field of like, you could learn everything, like everything, a bit of everything, and you can become like a fantastic artist.
That's awesome. And then in term 6, of course, you work with an industry mentor, and that's a little bit different than the other terms, because of course the other terms are just courses, some artists, like yourself, you kind of have an idea what you're going to do in your final demo reel prior to term 6.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like term 6? So you're starting to work with your mentor, you're starting to work in shot grid, you're starting to do kind of more production work under tight deadlines. Tell us a little bit about your experience with working with a mentor, and did that mirror at all with some of the stuff that you're now doing in production?
So what I would like tell to people who are currently in this situation or are entering like term 6, it is a bit of a different experience, because in like from term 1 to term 5, you are at school. At like in term 6, you are kind of in a studio, because what you have in term 6 is very, very alike to what you would have in a studio. You have like dailies and attend dailies. Just make your favor and attend dailies like as much as you can, even if your work is not shown, because you could always pick some stuff that is relevant for your shots and something that you're currently working on, and just listening to other people's feedback as well, because you could just tweak your stuff before your stuff is being reviewed. And if you hit those notes prior to them being pointed out, it's just a huge bonus. So basically, it might be like you have to be mindful of your hours. Just start thinking as if you are already hired in a studio when you enter term 6. Just think about your hours as if like you're working at the studio, just because you won't have that many lectures in term 6. You have, I feel like, only 2, and then the mentor session. So basically, like every hour you don't have lectures, just dedicated to your demo reel, and you shall succeed this way.
I love that you say that, because it's so easy. As artists, we naturally think, oh, the deadline's so far away, away, and it creeps up on you so quickly. So I love that you say, this is your final term. Put in the time. This sets the stage for the rest of your career. Put in that extra effort. So I love that you said that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to point out that, if you like, it can seem like your mentorship sessions will be like a week apart. So you would seem that you have like 7 days, but just imagine that if you decided, okay, I have a mentorship session like today's Thursday, and next Thursday is my review, and I'm going to spend an hour every day working on this. You'll only have like 5-hour work week, what you have done in like 5 days. This is not even a full studio like work day. You won't be having a lot of work done. And this is not something that production person would pat you on the head. So just keep this in mind. Yeah, hours are crucial in like term 6. It can be scary, but it also can be really liberating when you know that you have to work like X amount of time. Just like think what you can do, what won't burn you out, and just like follow this it's better done than perfect, as you always say, Mel. So yeah, just the work needs to be done.
That's amazing. Well, so much great advice from both you and Kent. Do you have any last minute words before we move on to the next artist? And of course, we'll do Q&A at the end for a round circle, but round table.
Yeah, I would just say that stay open-minded. This is my greatest advice to everybody, and learn how to use naming conventions. This is crucial.
Yes.
Yeah, just don't skip on them because they are just everywhere. They will creep up on you, and just set your bar towards the correct naming conventions from term 1, and just stick to them till term 6.
I love it because it just becomes second nature, right? So it seems like it's kind of a pain at first. Who cares if there's a slight typo or no, it makes a huge difference. Just make it so that it's second nature, so you don't need to think about it, so you can focus on the artwork. So that's awesome advice. Well, fabulous. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Thank you again for your time today. And let's go on to the next artist.
Hello. Is my mic working?
It is, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you. Again, thanks for your time today. I know everybody is working overtime and working hard, so we appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
I really wanted to touch on a couple things because I know a lot of students are super interested in industry work initiatives, and they just want to apply everywhere. Let's apply now, just now, anywhere that we can think of. And of course, directly to the biggest studios, the ILMs, the Sonys, the Scanlines, the Pixos, the Methods, and so I would love to hear about your journey because you got into industry work initiatives. So basically we worked with a studio and said hey, here are some artists that we think are ready for production. You were one of them. I believe, was it term 3? So
it was
your first year?
3 or 4, I think so. Because when we started learning katana, we were super new with that.
And so what was your journey? You've always been very driven, much like the other artists that we're talking to today. And as you said, you just started to learn katana and you just went for it. You just went, okay, I can do this. I know I can do it. Let's just see what happens here. How did you approach it? So it was a full CG studio and like you said, just barely learning katana. How did you go about doing it? How did you apply? What's some of your advice for those artists that are I want to do it, term 2, term 3? How did you prepare yourself and what do you think made your application successful?
Before coming to that, I will just want to say it to people who are hearing us is that My first gig in the industry was being a lighting and compositing artist. I'm not a lighting person, but still, I went for whatever first opportunity I got. I'm like, we have to land on it. So many people have been thinking, they're like, yo, I have to, if I want to be a modeler, I only going to go for that department. I'm only going to go for this because I don't know other, at the end, you just want to get your first step in the industry. It doesn't matter how you're going to get it. Just get yourself landed in the industry, and then you can change stuff. Then you can move to some other things. And it's never a bad thing learning new stuff. I learned lighting. Being a compositor, it's always nice to know lighting. So it was a nice 1 year when I learned lighting and worked in Katana, where I was basically knowing nothing. In dailies, I used to be like, I feel I'm dumb. Because they used to talk something, all those different things. And I'm like, I don't know any of these, but I was still working. So people who think it's impossible to work in a different department, which you don't know anything of, it's not. I've worked in 1 year on it, so it's not. You just have to work. You just have to make networks. You just have to make connections. You have to understand the production. That's what you're going to take 1 year for. And also learning that department, whatever you're working on. So how I came to this job opportunity is applied. I'm like, either way, it was not something I wanted to do, but I applied for it. So any job opportunities, anyone's going to say, apply. Doesn't matter if it's not your department, apply for it, because you never know when you're going to get a shot, right? You never know when they're going to call you for an interview. You never know that they might be thinking that, oh, you're credible to land on this, because, most of the studio, they will teach you while on the job only how to do the work. So don't be afraid of that. Be like, hey, I don't know any basics of this. All right. So I won't be able to work. So, being in CEA, I was lucky enough that, there was this job initiative thing going on. And I still remember there used to be many gigs coming on the team chat, and we all used to apply and message Mel, be like, hey, can we apply here? And Mel used to be like, apply all, all of them. So that's what we all used to do. We used to apply all of them. And I got the shot. I got the shot for Bardell, and worked there as a lighting and compositing artist. And after working there for 1 year, then I changed my industry. I changed my position, and then I moved to Pixamondo, where I am right now, and working as a junior compositing artist, which I actually wanted to do. So at the end of the day, you will get to the goal, whatever you want to do. Just start. That is it.
So would you say patience and work hard? Would that be your advice?
Patience and start. That's it. I mean, just don't lose hopes. At the end of the day, you're just gonna get there, wherever you want it to be. Just start, because many people are afraid to start, and I know this, but personally, they're like, hey, I'm not ready for the studio. I'm not gonna apply. I wanna make. I mean, you should keep updating your demo reel. Don't stop on that. But at least whatever you have, just apply for it. Whatever you got, just apply. It doesn't matter. And keep updating.
And what was it like? So obviously, as you said, having lighting complements compositing. So even though it wasn't necessarily something that you were interested in at first, it definitely, because understanding of lighting complements compositing in the future. And I mean, there's so many other departments like that as well. We've heard light instructors say, hey, I started in IO, input output, just gathering files. And because of that, I was doing render farm management, and I got to do more of the technical stuff about that particular department. And he's a stronger artist now because of that than a lot of his, fellow peers or others in the industry. And so I love that you said, hey, it wasn't necessarily my favorite on the radar, but I just went for it. And the really cool thing is that a number of your classmates were with you. And so you work together. It's a collaborative environment, right? You don't just keep things to yourself. You have to work together. So like you said, I didn't know, but you put in the work, you worked with each other, you put in the work with, your classes and stuff like that while you're working in industry. I just think that's such an incredible feat, going from term 3, 4, well before graduation. What was it like to change from, obviously, full CG has certain workflows and now you're in live action. What was it like to make that transition?
To be honest, it was like a shock because in the whole CG thing, it used to be way more like I'm just talking as a compositor, just being like into compositing thing is that because you don't have to make photos, you don't have to do all that stuff. You have like everything you have a control over it because you have things for that, right? But getting into live action, it was totally like I still know my first show, which is out already. It's called like Winning Time, but it was like I don't know what to do. I'm like, yo, who's gonna give me the template? Because in the full CG show, it's like they used to give you a script, and you just have to. There's not much compositing when I was working in Borda. It was all lighting, and in compositing, it was just merge. So, and when you move to live action, that's when the real compositing starts, right? And I'm not gonna say that all my work which I did in Bardell was a waste for me because, to be honest, uh, my seniors in Pixamondo, they did acknowledge that, and that's why my first show they gave me all like a lot many stadium integration work. So I did CG integration of the stadiums. I did crowd work. I did lots of
my goodness.
CG stuff, which I was not expecting I'm gonna do. So they
Harshit, can we show what you're talking about right now? Can I play it?
Go ahead.
Let me play it quick.
Stadium stuff. You
he gave me a
just
video.
Graduated in December. That is crazy.
That was crazy.
Congratulations.
Okay, let me play that for you guys, and then we'll talk about it a bit more. Okay.
I can't believe you have a live action reel just a few months into. Wow.
That was like a rough cut.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Well, thanks for putting that together for us. So that's really cool. So what I love hearing here is that a lot of students will say, I want to work at these, the ILMs and stuff like that. And it is possible. We've already heard Angie and from Kent, but it's not everybody's path. And I think there's a lot of really great things happening at the studios that are full CG. Like you said, like, do you feel that because you had that experience that it really propelled you or give you a bit of an edge in going to the live action studio now? Because you said that your seniors recognized it.
Yeah. Like I will say that most probably I think so they wouldn't have given me the CG integration work. It's just that because in the time of interview only I did told them and they knew that I was working in Bardell and I know about the CG content and all the like workflow for it. So they were like a bit confident enough that they think that I can handle it. I think if I wouldn't be having any experience and just landed on in live action without any experience, it would be hard for me having a first show, first day, they're not going to give you CG integration work.
Oh no.
Never.
Definitely not.
Because I was personally expecting I'm going to get lots of plate prep work. It's like lots of rotos, lots of paint or like, some keying and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, what I personally feel because I learned this thing from Kent. I will say this. I learned this while being in CEA with Kent, because he was a pretty mature like a person when it comes to work. So I learned this that planning and communication is really important. People don't pay much attention to these. It's like I suck at it. When I was in CEA, I was not paying much attention on these things. But people who wants to make the demo reel, I say the example of Kent. He started way early. He had the planning. He was good in communication. That's why he was a rep. But that thing is helped. Like you can see where he's like landed right now. He's in DD. So, I mean, that's the same, whatever like communication you're going to be doing in CEA. If you can't meet any assignments deadline, you're going to tell it to your teachers. It's the same thing you're going to be doing in the work so that you won't going to get overwhelmed, right? Because if you feel that you're a bit like overwhelmed, you're like going to tell it to production. And many people would be working part-time in CEA in the studio. I was overwhelmed too. I was not having that communication with in my like studio, telling them that, hey, I got a lot of more work, but I know people who will be in CEA, they will get work initiative. They will be working part-time in studios. So don't get overwhelmed. Always communicate to your teachers and the production people that, hey, you got lots of work. Just tell it to them. And it's not always that you have to be on deadline. If you can't meet the deadline, just say it before and you're fine. It's not always like that, and you're fine. Many people think that, oh, you can't meet the deadline. It's like a wrong thing. It's not. Just say it and you're fine.
I love that, because the same thing goes for assignments and everything else, right? Reach out for help before it's too late, because you don't want to be telling the coordinator, the supervisor, 20 minutes before it's due, I'm not going to make my deadline. You should be able to see well in advance. So same thing with homework, right? You should know well in advance, hey, I feel like I might not make it. And it's better to communicate that. If you still make it, awesome. And if you have a work in progress, at least submit that so that, the supervisor, the instructor, whoever's helping you can see where you got stuck. Because time is money, there's deadlines. And at the end of the day, I think Angie said it great. And that is, a shot is only abandoned by time or money. And as a student, it's time. And in a studio, it's both. So it's a collaborative thing. And I really love that the theme here tonight is really planning, communication, and just really trying, putting your best foot forward. So any last advice before we move on to the next artist?
Observe your classmates. I observed Kent learned a lot. Observe. You said there might be some people who are way ahead of you. There might be some people who are beneath you, but just always get good stuff from you, because you will be sharing the same room, right? It's just like a studio place. You will be sharing the same place with the supervisors too, right? Just learn. I now learn many things from the supervisors, a lot. I just open their scripts and I'm like, yo, that's like a big thing, whatever they're doing. Don't feel scared of asking for help, and just, learning more and more. People love teaching. I have seen this. People love helping and teaching. They're like, yo, someone is here. I can teach my skills to. So everyone wants to be a teacher. Just learn and ask for the help. That's it. Never stop. That's my advice. I've given too many advices here.
No, that's awesome.
But I won't going to speak much now. I think other fellows also need their own time.
Okay, we'll talk to you again in a bit. Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you so much. Sydney, are you there?
Hello.
Hi. Oh my goodness. It's so much fun watching this reel. You are in such a cool role that I think more artists need to hear about. So tell us a little bit about your role, your journey to CEA, what got you interested in rigging and all that jazz.
So, hi everybody. I'm Sydney. I'm currently working as the lead rigger at Skyline VFX. I started my journey a little over 2 years ago at CEA. I would have to say it was a transforming experience for me, truly, because for me, I'd never opened Maya before I entered CEA. I didn't know what rigging is before I entered CEA. I entered the animation program, thought I was going to be an animator, or I just want to work in the industry. So I walked in just blank. I was a neuroscience researcher back in Singapore before I came here. So literally irrelevant to the industry, but I had the passion. I knew I need somebody that could help me to get the skill, because I'm willing to put in the time and the work, but I need somebody to guide me. And that's what I found at CEA. The teachers has been so helpful. I still thinking about it. I still feel grateful for whatever I got at CEA, and it certainly drove me forward. So yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, you were one of the first CEA grads, one of the first artists to get a job in the industry while you were in school at one of the biggest studios in the world. And I'm just in awe that you were just promoted to lead. So for those of you that are not familiar with what that takes, I mean, you go through several different things. It can be junior, intermediate, senior, lead. Not everybody becomes a lead. And, this can take 4 to 6+ years, depending on the individual, depending on the department, depending on so many things. And Sydney, you've accomplished this in record time, absolutely record time. Like I've been in this industry for 22 years. I've never seen anybody just grow to that level of, leadership and skills in just such a short period of time. You are definitely now an industry leader, right, in your role, which is really, really cool. And so what drew you towards rigging in particular? Because I really want to showcase this, because a lot of artists, they think of the Pixar films, they think of all that kind of things. And I think there's just so much behind rigging that doesn't get enough press, so to speak, that, animation relies on it so heavily. And without it, there wouldn't be animation.
Right. So definitely. So my advice to the students at school is that when you are outside of the industry, everybody's going to look at film and say, oh, the animation is amazing. Nobody's going to say, oh, the rigging is amazing, because nobody knew what rigging is. But for somebody who is stepping into the industry, it's very important for you to know what are you good at. For me, because I came from a science background, so rigging came to me more naturally than animation or something else, because I had that science background. And as somebody who wants to be in the industry, you need to know, like, where can you shine the most? So for me, of course, if you already have, like, say 4 or 5 years of experience in animation, you probably would shine that. But for somebody starting fresh, like me, so it's very important to pick your battle. Like for me, rigging, a lot of people struggles with rigging because they don't like dealing with technical stuff. It's not like modeling, you can get something looking pretty, or in animation, you can get like a nice, cool scene. But for me, it's something that a lot of people don't like to do it. That means there's more opportunity for you. And if you are especially good at it, you're going to be have so many more opportunities than comparing to others. So the life for you is going to be easier, is what I'm saying. So taking an example of me applying to Skyline, I applied to it while I was still at CEA at the beginning of term 5. The reason I applied is that I started learning rigging in term 2, and after term 3 and term 4, at the end of term 4, I asked my rigging instructor, saying that, since we're not having any rigging class afterwards, how far do you think I am to, actually apply to studio? He said to me, I think you can apply now. So I just started applying. And I think I agree with what Hashi said like earlier, you just apply everywhere. Like I got into Skyline, but I got turned down so many more times. I applied to Unity, I applied to Vibrant, but they say, we don't want part-time people working here. We don't hire anybody at school, but you just keep trying. When I applied to Skyline, I got in because they didn't know I was applying for part-time. I went into the interview. So HR didn't block me, because if HR knew, HR would have blocked me. So I went in and I talked to the supervisor. Of course, like I had my reel with me. That's what opened the door. They say, after talk, and then my supervisor asked, so when can you start? I said, just so that we're clear, I'm applying, like I am legally allowed to only work 20 hours. He says, oh, okay. And then she paused for like 30 seconds and said, we can find a way to make that work. So Skyline will never tell you on the webpage or IOM, they're never going to tell you they're going to hire anybody from school. They never hired anybody part-time before me, but you just got to keep trying. You just go there and your work speaks for you. If they like you, they can make it work for you. So it's very important to keep trying, and you don't get discouraged just because some studio turned you down. Like I got turned down quite a few times, but you just keep trying, because you put in the time and your work is there, and then you just need to keep finding the timing. When the timing is right, everything will work for you, but only if you have the work with you. So just put in the hard work, then you just have to trust yourself and keep trying.
That's amazing. And what I love is that you checked in with an instructor first and you said, where am I at? Am I ready or not? And if I'm not, what do I need to do? And so the instructor said, yes, you're ready. And then you just went for it. What you say to students that maybe they haven't done that? So maybe a student just goes, well, I want to work at some kind of studio. I don't know what. Haven't gotten my resume checked, haven't gotten anything checked, I just feel like it. I just feel like applying. What's your feedback to that? Because clearly you put in a lot of work. Like you made sure to double, triple, quadruple check everything. You did your homework. You researched those studios. You knew who the supervisors were. You knew who to talk to. You were really, really well prepared when you went through it. And like you said, like it's a journey. It might take multiple different tries until you find the right fit. And when you find the right fit, it's the right fit. So what would you say to the students? Because I have talked to some students and they're super, super eager, but they haven't necessarily put in the work. So yeah, what is your advice for them?
I think preparation is really everything. So imagine this, if you apply to a studio, you should always think you got at least like twice of a try every year. Imagine if you are the supervisor and the same person applies to you like every 3 months with the same thing and it's never prepared. You're just never gonna look at his work like seriously anymore, because you remember the name. Basically, you don't want a bad reputation. So if you think you want to start trying right now, but you should slow down and think this might be your only chance, at least within a year, for this studio. If this is the studio you want it now, it means you want it really badly. Then it's even more reason for you to prepare a little bit better, because even though you can always keep trying, but within the time that you have at CEA, maybe this is the only shot. Then you'll really feel the weight. You'll really know, I gotta give it all I got. Because imagine if you apply to IOM 3 times within the same month, they're just not gonna get back to you. And then maybe you got the first chance and you missed it. And then then you're gonna kick yourself later, say, why didn't I, iron out that? Or when they ask, oh, why is your reel, it has something that you didn't fix, and then you didn't know that in the interview, and then you're just gonna lie in bed thinking about, I wish I should have fixed that. So this should go, before you go applying, so that these things don't happen to you. So always prepare. Like the more you want it, the more time you should spend preparing. Only go for it when you think, I at least I got 80% of the shot. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get it, unless somebody else showed up or they are just full at the moment. But you gotta be way above the bar, I would say, to apply, because if you're just riding on the bar, somebody better showed up, then it's gonna squeeze you over. But if you think, I'm so confident, I'm like definitely prepared, or like even if you are not beyond the bar, you did everything you could. So if they turned you down, you wouldn't regret it, because that's maybe it's not the right part for you, or maybe it's just not time. But then you wouldn't feel too bad. Then you give it all, and then whatever results wouldn't really matter at that point, I would say. Yeah.
That's incredible advice. And I, thank you for your honesty at that, because I know how much hard work everybody on this panel has put in. And I think that's a big thing that I want, current students and even future students to recognize is it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of planning, a lot of communication. And you just, everybody wants that big job, but you have to put in the time to get it. Because like you said, you get one chance, and the next chance that you have isn't going to be as strong as that initial impact with applying at that studio. So you want to make sure that you make a big splash, a big, really great. And if you're not sure, don't hide it from your mentors. Don't hide it from your classmates. Don't hide it from your instructors. Get that feedback. And when there's no more notes to give, then and the instructor says, like they said to you, you're ready, go for it. That's when it's time to apply. And the other thing that I would say is, it's incredible. There's been a couple of students that have definitely gotten the part-time jobs so they study. But you're right. A lot of studios shy away from the part-time opportunities because it's new to them. It's new to production. But, some of you in this call, yourself, in particular, have paved the path for a lot of future students, because you've proven that part-time work does work and that you can deliver. And so thank you for doing that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's beneficial for the studio as well. I hope more studio realize that, especially in the beginning stage of training, like part-time is just advantage for both the studio and the students. I wish more studio notice that. So, yeah.
Do you have any last minute things that you want to say? I know we have one more artist and we'll do a quick round table after, but any last advice that you want to say?
I would say just plan it. As Ken said, always plan it. Know exactly what you want to produce at the end of your journey as CEA. And the teachers here, like they are all professionals and they know exactly how to get you there, but you have to tell them what you want first. So know very well what you want to do and ask for advice. They will guide you there as long as you are very sure where you are going.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For student-to-be grads or just artists in general, a lot of them will focus on, you have some beautiful effects at the beginning of your reel, of course, with the text and all that kind of stuff. But what you say to artists that put so much time into their opening title card and title cards, say their music in this case, now that you've gone through the program, now that you've gotten, you've been working in a studio for quite some time, what is your advice to that kind of stuff? Like, how much time would you put into it versus, say, your other work in your reel?
Yeah. So about this, I think my advice is like, if you already finish for example, for the compositing reel, if you already finish all your compositing breakdowns, like all the details, it went smoothly. And then you can put your time into music, like opening and ending. Because like in reality, in the studio, it's like, it depends on the shots. So like, but basically we don't have music on the shots. Yeah, because you're gonna working on the different shots. And so you just like, the most important thing is you're done your compositing parts. Yeah. So that's is my advice.
I think that's great advice. I was going to echo the same. So what it really comes down to is that recruiter, that supervisor is looking at your art inside the reel. And as long as they know how to contact you, what role you're applying for, where you live. So, if you do have to come in person, that's all they need. Just nice and clean. It doesn't have to be fancy, although, like I said, yours is beautiful because you do have some effects, knowledge and skill sets. And same thing with websites, right? So you probably host, I'm assuming, on something like Vimeo or YouTube or something, right?
Yeah, the Vimeo.
Yeah. And it's just something simple, right? And then you can direct the recruiters there. You don't have to make your big splashy web page and host it and spend all the time doing that.
Yeah.
Because that takes time. And I mean, how many hours would you say? So, I mean, the work that you did is incredible. Some of the work even in your reels are, dare I say, borderline invisible effects, which in my opinion are some of the most impressive effects, because those are the ones that people don't even know are there. And that means that you did a really great job as a compositor. So in your term 6, how many hours would you say that you put into your demo reel work outside of lecture and lab time? So it would have been about 20 hours, give or take, a week for lecture and labs. How much time over and above that do you think you put into your demo reel?
I think I put a lot of times every day, actually, because it depends on like how many shots you're gonna show on your demo reel. For example, I have 4. So I split the time. Maybe I will say every day you put, so after class, like after the lab time, also put like 3 to 4 hours to polish your shots, like to make the breakdown. And after that, I think, you should definitely put as much as you can every day to your demo reel. Yeah.
I think that's great advice. And what about the dailies? So just like, checking in, showing your work, ShotGrid, uploading stuff to ShotGrid. I know that earlier there's some talk about file naming and just deadlines and stuff like that. How much of it, with what you did in term 6 relative to what you do now in studio, is it transferable? Was it like, oh, I'm so glad that, I did a little bit of that in school because I appreciate it so much more now that I'm in production. So, yeah.
Yeah, the school actually helps a lot because in the studio, every shot has the name, episode number, version number. It's already all like super organized. So if you put efforts on this, it's definitely gonna help you like working in the studio like smoothly. Yeah, and also with ShotGrid, because we use ShotGrid every day, and sometimes we QC in the Nuke, sometimes we QC in the ShotGrid. So it's definitely super helpful if you already know how ShotGrid works. Yeah.
Awesome. And so you started in a live action studio, if I recall correctly, and now you're at your second live action studio.
Yeah.
What was that like? What is kind of the day in the life of a junior compositor, outside of school? Is there anything that, now looking back on your time in CEA that you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I'm so glad I did that after you had some industry work?
Yeah, of course. After graduation, I went to the Ingenuity Studio, and now I'm in the Barnstorm Studios. And I think so. Like like in school, every day you have dailies, right? It's like similar. Now I working at studio. You're gonna have a notes from your shot. Your lead gonna give you notes. After you have got notes, you're gonna fix that, and so then you submit to the new version to the short grade again. So if like clients have notes, the shots will also come back, and what's the question again?
That's okay. Yeah. Just, was there anything that, looking back now when you were in school, was there anything that you were like, oh, I wish I had done this differently, or I'm so glad that, I did this. Maybe other students weren't doing it. Is there, just reflecting back, I guess, say even on your last term, is there any advice that you would give to students that are currently in, say, term 5, term 6?
Yeah, I would say it's like observing others' work, like always checking around what other classmates, their demo reel, and communicating is also very a big part, because when you're working at the studio, you're gonna be assigned to a task, different shots, and you're gonna communicate with your lead. What is the client required for this shot? And so it's like almost the same thing. Like when I was a student in CEA at some term 6. So yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you had another career before you came to CEA and studied for visual effects, in this case, in compositing. So what was that journey like?
So you mean before the CEA?
Yeah, you had another career. If I
I did. So I was doing the sales, seasonal sales. So I think the key thing is all about the communication. So you're gonna talk with people, and like you're gonna know what exactly the client want. Then you do the right thing, and you're gonna. The important things is like you should know about yourself. What is your want, and that is all related, I think. Yeah.
And so like you said, like coming from that background before CEA, there's a lot of parallels. Like there's things that you can take. So if there's anybody here that's like, I've done this career before, Sydney said it, right? There's parallels that were drawn between that previous career and this, the technical side of things really was a driving factor. And then for you, the communication, you're able to go, okay, this is how I can be a very strong artist and contributor, because really, 50% of the time is the art and the other side is the communication. And so you were always a really great communicator. I remember that and continue to be. So I think, that's really awesome. Do you have any last kind of advice that you would add to maybe aspiring artists or any current students? Maybe some current students are like, I'm in term 2, everything looks really cool, I have no idea. And then you start the new term and you change your mind 5 times in some other specialty. Any advice for those types of artists?
Yeah, of course. Because before I went to CEA, I know nothing about visual effects. So at CEA, I learned animation. We learned lighting, compositing, effects. So you got so much things to learn. And at the end, you're going to pick what is your favorite thing to do. And you're going to know yourself. And you just go for that. And so really takes put efforts to your demo reel is the most important thing. You can just show your demo reel and get the job. And otherwise, I will say just talk with your teachers, ask questions, always asking questions. That's the most important thing. You don't have to be shy or you don't have to be worried, because in the industry, we also like always asking questions and people always gonna help you. That's the that's the great thing. Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible advice. And I think that's great because a lot of artists are very shy, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us are very
Yeah.
shy and we don't want to sound silly or have the wrong answer. And I think it really comes down to we're all learning.
Yeah.
The industry's changing. There's new technologies. We learn together. And nobody is necessarily, more right than the next person. There's sometimes more than one right answer or different ways to get to the same end destination. So
yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to open it up. If there's anybody that's in the audience, let's open up those questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them on the chat. I'm going to invite the rest of the panelists to come back on camera. And if there's any kind of last minute things that anybody wants to say or add, maybe. Matt, if you had any questions that you wanted to add as well before you wrap up.
Well, first I'll say thank you to everybody for joining us. It's really kind of you to take the time and share your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience with everybody here. I wouldn't mind talking about kind of the professional side of everything. We talked about the artistry and technical artistry. I'd like to, the CEA, there is a lot of focus on professionalism and team work and your interpersonal skills. Maybe we could discuss the importance of that, because really the industry is as much about that as it is about artistry. Because if you're not fun to work with, people don't want to work with you. That's just the hard truth, right? So let's go around. Maybe we'll start with Kent. Since you are our first, we'll give you another shot. At
okay.
What do you say to professionalism and working with others, and how important that is?
Yeah, seems like for the different industry, they got a different professionalism, right? But no matter what kind of job you do, just learn how to respect yourself and your teammate. So that's the idea, like keeping just going to the right time, take to your right responsibility, and just do what you need. Contribution, do the contribution for the team. That's the thing. So as a student, you just like practicing how to get used to the rules. Yeah, that's the thing. So better you prepared, better you smoothly get into the industry life. Yeah. That's what I saw.
That's great. That's smart. What about you, Ange? What are you working at a major studio like you're doing now? What do you think about all that? How important is
Yeah, it's really important. Like you need to be a good team player because like you work with people and basically you get some like you can share shots and you need to have this clear communication on like who does what, and if other people are buried under like their shots, you get and help them. And you need this clear, streamlined communication because clients, they want results and we need to be prepared as a team. Like if something breaks, it's not about who is the one in whose file this happened. We just investigate why and we make sure that it never happens again in this particular like way that it happened before. So this is the most important thing. You just think about not only your work, but the bigger picture as well. So this is like something you have to keep in mind as a student as well, because you have a couple of group projects. And I feel like it's a great way to practice this, not blaming others if something goes not exactly as you think it should, but just maybe take this extra step and this extra effort to maybe try and fix that and reach out to like people who may potentially need your help. This will pay off in the like final project. So yeah, just make sure to be open to other people and just ask for help if you feel like you need some additional assistance as well.
I'm glad you brought up the word investigation, because I find when I was in studio, especially early project, 95% of the time is just investigating in teams, how how the pipeline is going to be set up as
yeah,
you get
definitely
started.
workflows, they break, they develop, like it depends like how much you work, like in which department you are, how much your work is going to be transferable to other departments, how other people are picking up your work, like what you do, is this caches, is this export? You need to figure this technical stuff as well. So yeah, investigation is definitely something that is done.
It's mass investigation.
And of course, try to maybe know, like if you're working with a rigged asset, like as Sydney mentioned, like for animators, like rigging is important. Like nobody tells you like that, because like animators see that when you don't have a good enough rig, you can't pull up this performance. So riggers are just inevitable. Like they are just like, they're absolutely replaceable. So Sydney, yeah, you're amazing. Yeah, good job.
Sydney, let's talk to you for a bit. So you came in and you managed to get to where you are very quickly. And so talk about communication, professionalism, and kind of your hot take on that.
First, thanks, Angie. We actually worked on the team project earlier when we were at CEA, and that was a fun experience. I would say it's a very crucial one for both of us. I think, neither of us will be where we are without that project, and CEA really gave us an opportunity. So regarding professionalism, I know a lot of students at school get pissed when people talk about professionalism. They think it's formality. They think it's unnecessary. If I can do the work, why do I care about professionalism? But the thing is that people need to understand that school doesn't need the professionalism. You need the professionalism. School put it in so that you can learn it. Like imagine does the school really need you to be there on time? Not really. The teacher can still teach the lecture without you. Do the school really need you to submit your work on time? Because the teacher is not going to grade it like immediately after the midnight. It's for you so that when you're at the studio and the clients, when they want it, you got to do it in time. And if you have been doing that in school, if you have that habit built in you, then you'll be able to do that without the pressure. So it's all part of the learning, and you should pay equal attention to how you treat people around you. How do you meet the standards of others set to you? It's equally important as how well you do your work, because it doesn't matter how good you are if you can't deliver the stuff on time. And that's the only thing that matters in the end. So it's very important to always stick to those standards, even though it might seem annoying sometimes, but it's good for you. So yeah, definitely crucial.
That's great. Yoki, you came from another industry, you had another profession before this. So you would have known all of that in some way beforehand. Yeah. You weren't. So you've been at 2 studios now.
Yeah.
What do you think about what you've seen so far? And now when you see a junior coming in, maybe without the skills we're talking about, do you find it's a detriment to them? Like, do you see them struggling more than if, say, some of the people on this call with the knowledge they have, do you find the CA might have helped you all more to be prepared for studio life?
Yeah, of course. It's because like our work, it's like whole thing is a teamwork. You never work like solo. You're always gonna working with someone. So respect to your classmates, respect your teacher, respect everyone around you. It's like no hurt at all. Just like it's yeah. So I would say like just be always, because we're always helping each other. So appreciate which everyone's work around you. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, it's you learn who you can count on very quickly in a studio environment. Because naturally people are just the way attraction works. You become friends with certain people, and especially if you have the same job and you have the same task, it's good to make close studio friends, whether you're friends with them outside of the studio or not. It's good to have those allies because those are the people that are going to bring you through the hard times.
Yeah.
Harshit, you tell me what you think about life outside of studio, just kind of social life with the people that you're working with, networking in the industry. You're quite good at this, at promoting yourself and your work and your artistry. So talk a bit about what do you think artists should do outside of the inside of the studio, with how to market themselves and maybe how to get themselves out in front of the world?
Well, for that, I mean, as you've been talking about networking, it is super important in a sense of not to just make friends. I mean, yeah, you do have to make friends. You can't live with your friends, but you have to make a nice like a gesture relation with everyone, because it's a pretty small industry, if you say, right? You either way gonna work with the people you are working right now at some point. You will see your classmates after 4 years, you all are working in some other like same projects or something, right? So it's really important. If you can't make everyone your really good friends, but you can have a good gestures with everyone so that you can have a nice network and a bonding, so that if you work, you're pretty comfortable. Because to be honest, if I'm having a teammate, I would prefer to work with someone with whom I'm comfortable with, right? So you have to keep your teammates and everyone comfortable enough that they do want to like work with you, and that's happened in and outside of studio. That's why it's a bit important to be socially active too, and not just all the time work, and be socially active too while being in studio and having a nice talk with the people, and also while being in college, have a nice talk with the teachers and your classmates and everyone, because they, you never know, but they all will be helping you at some point.
Yeah,
so that's what I think is it's in or out. You just have to. It is super important to have like networking and be social with like everyone.
it's almost like staying on a short list just because of your positivity. And you know what it is too? I think every project, every studio, every time you're going to be building things with other people, and there's always going to be that discovery time and that investigation time we talked about. And people will always want to work with somebody they know they can do that well with. They can go through the discovery, the investigation, the stress, the overtime. They want that person around that they like, and not the person they kind of have to suffer through just because they're a great artist. So, because in the end, the artistry will come. It always does. We have the benefit of working with incredible industry leaders that'll get us there.
All comes in professionalism, and and to be honest, whatever like Sydney said was spot on. Was like, I am the example of not having a good professionalism, and I just came to see you. I was like, it's my college life, I want to enjoy. But if you're not learning the professionalism, how to be professional enough with your work, you are just being hard on yourself. Because if you're going to learn that thing while being on job, you will be having a stressful time. And I had it when I was in part-time. So I learned from my mistakes. Learn from our mistakes. Don't think like, yo, it's a college life and enjoy. Yeah, enjoy it too, but be professional is super important.
Okay, shifting gears a little here. Let's talk about PGWP. What are your thoughts? Good thing or bad thing for international students? Go.
It is super good thing. Without that, it's like it's gonna get super hard, because to be honest, there's a lot many people. It's like if there's two people having same artwork, having same work and stuff, and same professionalism, but one has the documentation to work in Canada, but the other one is not having that. Studio is for sure gonna go for the person who has the PGWP, who has the documentation to work in here, because that your PGWP enhancing your opportunity to work in studio way much than what you expect, way much, because studios is not like, why studio will put expenditure on you to sponsor you to bring you here, until and unless you're super good, you're super they really want you, only then. But if you are in the competition and you have PGWP, you're already ahead of like all the people. So it is super. There's no clear. It is always super like important. There's no doubt.
Sydney, Kent, maybe you could talk to that too. You both came from other serious careers, and I would say, knowing you a little that I know you now, you had a plan, and PGWP was probably part of it, coming to CEA along with other things. Talk about that a little.
Lady first?
Sure. I would say I learned the lesson the hard way. So CEA was not my first school after I came to Canada. The previous one that I went to didn't offer PGWP. Back then, when I was outside of Canada, I didn't know how important it is. I thought, I'll just study pretty hard and I'll be good enough that some studio is going to want me. I don't think that's going to happen very often, to put it mildly. So there's already enough competition going on, and you don't want the documentation or the paperwork be one of them on your list just to get your chance even lower. So you need it is what I'm gonna say. You really need it. I thought I didn't need it. I needed it. So yeah, definitely get it. And CEA can offer that for you, which is very, very crucial.
Yeah, super agree. The thing is like if you went to the school, just think about it, you want to learn something. Then you got to do something else or start to learn something else. It doesn't matter about PGWP, but the purpose we learn from that. After that, we want to just get into the industry and start to work and get more experience for that. So that's the pass. That's the passport. That's super important especially for international students. So that's one. There's another wonderful reason to join into CEA, right?
Yeah, and it was a fact of, because there's a lot of schools in Vancouver that have well-established schools that have been around for a long time.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think they got to win the competition as well. So
the other schools?
That's why CEA is CEA. Then the rest is the others. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. I can't get a better plug than that. I think that's enough on that. Ken, why don't you tell us, let's start with you. We got you. Tell me about shifting careers. You shifted over from a full career in another industry. What do you think now that you made the shift? It's similar but different. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the thing is like, I don't think I shifted career. The thing is more dealing with the media job. I did as a reporter, as an editor, as a producer. So always just dealing with those frames. The thing is that the main thing is never changed. But the thing is like for the movie side, the film industry, it is more like I just shifting the position as a professional audience. To move to the position, I can do something for the movie. So that's the one of the most exciting thing. And no matter what kind of a previous experience you got, you always can find some benefit and put things together and mix with the new experience you got to move forward to the next step. So I can say it is a shift, and just like update it, keep updating myself. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, I'll buy that. Yuki, how about you tell us a little bit about that, because you had a different career as well. What are your thoughts on shifting careers, and was it the right decision? Do you miss your old job?
My old job was kind of part-time job. It's not even full-time job. So I graduated from the US and my major was communication. I never thought I can do job in the VFX world, never. But I'm so glad I did it, because when I was young, I always loved anything related with arts. Like I was art student in my high school, and now like I cannot even imagine I can do something for TV show or for movie. It's like so incredible for me. So I always be so grateful that I can have this opportunity working in the industry because it's really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say you all lucked out because it's never been better for employment and opportunity. So that's a fantastic thing. Ange, you said it before, you came out of high school and you're young. Do you have any thoughts on getting straight into this, straight out of high school and making a go of it?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the youngest on my current team, like with people who I'm working with, but it doesn't mean that I am less responsible for what I do and what I deliver than anybody else. You just, when you enter the industry, you're not like a kid that would be taken care of by other more experienced people on the team. You have as much responsibility and as much things that other people like get on your team, and you are responsible to deliver them the result to clients exactly as you asked to do this. So this is a thing to remember. And then maybe just reach out to more experienced people, like build this communication with your leads, with your colleagues, and just always ask people who you're working with the shots. Just use this as your advantage. Like, you're young and you have so many cool like people who are more experienced, and you just reach out to them, say, hey, I'm not sure about this. Maybe we could jump on a quick chat and you could just demo this for me like for 5 minutes, and this will save me so much like effort on figuring this out. And just keep it clear that you are still learning, and just do your best. Like, try to improve. Like, with every shot you do, just try to show them that you can do more. Like in Harshad's case, like if he didn't have this experience, probably his suit wouldn't have known that he is able to pull off this crazy thing that he has done. So just be mindful. Just promote your potential to your supervisors as well, because they will be hesitant at the beginning because they don't want to overwhelm you as well. It doesn't mean that they do not believe in your skills. It just takes time and faith in your potential as well. You just need to prove that you can do this.
Very wise. Well, you wouldn't know that you're as young as you are, the way you talk. That's great. Harshad, you talk to that as well. You're also young blood. Tell us about that.
Young blood. Well, that's what I also feel in the studio. Trust me. For a couple weeks, I felt like, everyone's treating me so nice. Nice. I'm like a kid in here. But I mean, they do treat you in a sense that, not like in a bad way, kid, but in a sense that he's like a fresh talent in the studio, so they do are more neat. They're more like help, like guiding you a bit with it, and take it in a positive way, and you can use it for yourself. And I do it all the time. I always used to, go to my soup, and or my lead, because I can't be picking up soup all the time. So all the lead, all the soup. And if I don't know anything, I'd be like, teach me. I know been to lead, and I'd be like, teach me the king stuff. The way you did, show me how you did it. And he's like, okay. He's like, go ahead. We're gonna teach you. And like, although he knows that I have learned king in the school too, but just because they're like fresh out, and they're not gonna expect anything much from you, so you can take it as a benefit. So as they're not expecting much, you have more room to learn. You have more room to experiment, and you have more room to ask questions and just be a bit of yourself, and, just be stupid with the stuff. You can just experiment something in Nuke script and just say it to this, like, hey, I did something wrong or what, to this. And they're like, oh, you did that wrong. And they will just do it for you. So take it as your benefit. If you're fresh, people are there to guide you, and they really want to, because you are like, they want you to grow with the company. Right? So they want you to grow with the studio. So take it always in your like benefit.
Yeah, very true. Mel, what do you think, listening to all these former CEA students? What are you thinking right now?
Oh, you guys are like my children all grown up. It's so incredible to just, you were some of the first graduates, and it's just been so incredible to see where you started, to see where you are today. I can see where you're going to be in 6 months, a few years from now. And it's so inspirational. And I just wanted to say, thank you for your time today. I know some of you, had optional overtime. You put that aside to be with us today. And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts for taking the time to, speak your story, to share it with everybody, and to share it for, with upcoming artists and soon to be graduates. Very inspirational, and you will be guiding the way for them. Like you said, this is just such a small industry. Some of you said it already, right? Like I know that I have graduates, artists that I've trained years ago that, could be my supervisor now. And I have no doubt that, many of you will be in the same position. You will be each other's supervisors. You could be my supervisor one day. You could be co-workers. And so I think it's so great to keep everything in mind that it's a small community. And like Harry said, just be nice to everybody and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for your hard work, and just keep being awesome.
Yeah, I've bugged all of you a lot over the past 2 years, begging you for material to show off, to show that the CEA is doing the right thing and preparing people in the correct way. So thank you to all of you. I got a question. It says, is relocating an obstacle when finding a job? Someone is in Calgary. The industry right now is so flexible with hybrid work, and a lot of people are still working from home and have the option to work fully from home because the technology was already in place for all of us before the pandemic. They just had to turn the switch. So most studios offer the flexibility to work remotely, I believe. Does anybody here disagree with me? Does anybody at a studio that's not the case? No. So, and if you're having trouble finding that, or you are trying to find a job and the studio doesn't offer that, there's 20 other studios that do offer remote work. So if you can prove through your demo reel or your portfolio or your resume that you're the right person for the job, you'll get the job. Location is no longer a barrier for entry into the industry. Demo reels and updating them. Do you simply keep adding to them or remove and replace elements to keep to a standard length or limit? We won't ask Kent because his demo reel is perfect. Let's ask...
They all are. Are you kidding me? They all are.
Let's ask Yuki, because Yuki, I'm going to, through the power of editing, I'm going to bring the sound back to your demo reel when I edit the presentation. But tell us about that. Do you recommend, after you've gotten a job, to continually update your demo reel?
Yeah, of course. I think you're gonna continue update your demo reel no matter you got job or not. It's like once you have a good shot, you have a breakdown, always put like update your demo reel. Oh yeah, like now I believe for all we can have request the studio for the shot way down, and they will send you the breakdowns. Then you just update into your demo reel. Yeah, always update.
I would say too, even if you get lazy and you don't update your reel, make sure you're collecting your shots from the studio.
Exactly.
And keeping them in a very safe online location, not on a hard drive that could break, or, you know what I mean? Like store them somewhere safe online that they can never be corrupted or damaged or lost. Full res, if you can get them, highest quality. You'll appreciate what I'm talking about when you go to get your dream job and you have all your primo shots at the highest quality possible. So yes, make sure you're keeping your own work as safe as possible, so you have proof that especially proof that you're growing over time too. So it's good to show evolution through things and everything. So it's crucial to keep your work safe.
I want to add one more thing to that, and that is that, in term 6, we typically will say only 3 demo reel shots. And you'll see some of these reels, ours went above and beyond. I know there's some reels that have 3 or 4 or 5 shots even. And that's because the artists made sure that those shots were all of the same quality. So I want everybody to keep in mind that was a really great question. Do you continue to update your reel? Do you just add to it? What do you do? Only keep your best work, because when supervisors, recruiters are looking at your reel, your weakest shot is what's going to be judged. So if you have a weak shot that's on your reel, they're going to think that that's your work that you typically produce, not the best one that you polished for a bazillion hours. That's great that you polished it, but they're going to focus on the one that sticks out, that doesn't look so great. And that's the one that they're going to remember. So it's fine if it's a work in progress, you're in the middle of the program, you're still learning, put your best shots that you have right now. But when you get one that is better than one of those shots, take it out. Or if they're all of the same quality, keep them in. But you should not be having 15 shots on your demo reel as a junior artist, because none of them will be the same quality. Now, the exception is going to be, you saw Harry's, he has some great shots from, actual shows. I know a lot of the artists on this call will be getting shots, so these big films take a year, 2 years, 3 years to come out, right? Top Gun took how many years to come out when it was supposed to come out? So it can take years before you can update your reel. And I think that's another thing to touch on is, Sydney said it before, your junior reel might not change for a year plus into your career, because you might not get any of those new shots approved by the studio to put on your reel. So as Sydney said, you can't keep resubmitting the same reel to the same studio. It has to be updated. So make that submission count. Don't just submit work in progress, make it count, because you might be with that reel for quite some time. And that's pretty typical. But just keep that in mind when submitting to places. Be selective and make sure that you have it kind of QC'd, quality checked and all that kind of stuff first.
But also just keep everything, because when you're older, you're going to want to watch it. And show your
I
kids
keep my
and
old
stuff.
reels all the time. I got my first reel ever and I cringe, but it's kind of cool to see the progress, right? To be like, oh my goodness, that's now like the easiest shot ever. A computer does it 20 years from now, right? I mean, I have shots like that when I first started and I thought it was a big senior shot, and now like students in school do that kind of work. So it's kind of cool to look back on that stuff. Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about the future for a bit. Where is the industry going? What new technologies are being used? What do you guys think? Let's start with Sydney. What do you think?
New technology. Actually, at our company, the volume capture thing has been pretty strong recently. So like virtual production. I also know there's a couple of big plays that's being constructed here in Vancouver regarding that. So I think that's definitely one to look into, integrating Unreal into the film industry pipeline. Yeah, I think that's one to look at, virtual production and stuff. It's gonna open so much more possibilities, I would say. So it's one to notice.
I think I'll add a little bit to that. I know that there's a lot of talk right now about this AI art and stuff like that. And I've been watching it obsessively for about the last week, Mid-Journey and stuff like that. And I read a really great article that was written by a supervisor. And that is that this new technology isn't going to replace artists. It's not. It helps make our job faster and easier, and it helps us to push the limits further. So, I've been in this industry since 2001. And like I said, stuff that we thought was so complicated, me and a bunch of really well-known supervisors who we were all juniors at the time, we were trying to do simple stuff. And now it wasn't simple back then, but it's simple, super simple now. And so technology is there to help us. But technology is never 100%. So you'll see these artists doing Midjourney, which is AI generated art, and they'll do draw overs over top of it. So like, cool, this is a really great foundation. Let's see what I can do to manipulate it, right? Because the artist always has to polish it up. Same thing with motion capture, right? Motion capture, which is the people in the bodysuits, has to be cleaned up. It's not perfect, or it's not exactly what we want it, but it can speed up elements. It can't replace all animation. Never, of course not. But it can help with certain parts of animation. So I think that's really where the technology is going. It helps to support artists, and it helps just make us do cooler things instead of maybe some of the stuff that is more manual. It helps to speed up the process. So it's a really exciting time. As we're seeing these LED walls, we're seeing Unreal being integrated. We're starting to see the technology from games kind of blending over now into visual effects. We're seeing these top end visual effects being done on Mandalorian, Game of Thrones. Like, this was stuff that was only seen in theaters before. So it's a really exciting time to be an artist. And as you said, Matt, like, I've been doing this for 20 something years, and I haven't seen this big of a growth in the industry and a demand for artists and a demand for talent ever before. So I think it's an exciting time, and definitely something to be excited about and to continue to watch, and something that will continue to integrate as the industry adapts it into curriculum.
By the way, does everybody have already watched the Netflix? I think the Love, Death, Robot, the third season.
Love, Death, Robot.
Yeah, there is one episode called Jibalu.
Yes.
So
it has been like.
Yeah, that's the God-made stuff. Yeah. They just hand-keyed all the animation. They do have some kind of a dancer to do the reference, but they didn't do the motion capture. So the art itself, it's art. So people, just group of talent people come together, do some real good stuff, and get the latest technology as a support. So we don't need to worry about that. We just got better weapons to make better things. Yeah.
That's true, Kent, because even every show you watch, which you wouldn't even think there's CG in, is loaded with CG. Every famous show that you've seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Homeland, things like that. It's just, those are CG masterpieces, but it's all invisible. And it's all technical green screen removals and crowd removals and object removals, and then just a lot of matte painting and background replacements. And they're not going to stop doing that. They're going to just do that more and more and more to make every show you see better, better, better. And I think that's where we're seeing the surge in the industry. It's the money's there, so they're going to spend the money on production to make the shows as good as they can be. And that's where the demand for good, strong, professional, technical artists comes in. And you're all seeing the benefit of that because you're all working.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, so glad like our industry, it is getting more and more interesting. So that's great. Is it the right track?
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we should almost wrap it up. I said we'd do
One more question.
I was just going to say, I said we'd do an hour, and we're almost 2, and I think we could do 3. Go ahead, Mel. Sorry.
And I can answer this within 30 seconds or less, I hope. So what are dailies? And that's a really good question. We talked about it so many times today. Oh, we do dailies just like Studio. Dailies is definitely something that we routinely do in all of these courses throughout the program. So it's written into the program. Dailies is basically what is done in Studio. So you have a task, whatever your task is, you have a deadline, and it's usually once a day. So the supervisor or a coordinator that works on behalf of the supervisor will say, okay, show us your work in progress. So show me what you have worked on so far today or over the last few days, and create a movie out of it. So I'm going to simplify it. You create a movie. They put it sometimes in one big long edit. Sometimes they just bring up an individual little clip. It could be 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And they just watch your video looping over and over again, sometimes at a slower frame rate. So instead of typically run it 24 frames a second, they run it, say, at 10. and they just watch it for notes. And so they might do like a draw over and say, here, pay attention to this thing over here, change it, change the animation, change the color, change whatever. Those notes will be entered by coordinator into a software that we call ShotGrid. And the notes and the annotations, so the drawings would put into there, the artist goes back to the desk and they address those notes. And so it's really a check-in point once, sometimes even twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And if you're working overtime, maybe once again in the evening. And it's just to keep you on track. So when you're in these courses, it will be built into the course so that you get used to this. This is just routine. Don't be shy about your work. You could have 30 people in a theater looking at your work. Nobody's judging. It's just about addressing the notes. And that is a big thing as well when you're artist, is getting used to that it's not personal. It's not a personal attack, that it's really just, here are the notes. I don't want to change anything but the notes. Just change the notes, fix them, come back when they're done. Let's see if they worked. If not, let's see how we can change them again. So it's about being a little bit of being humble. That's really hard as an artist. But this is just routine. That's how we get the shot done. And that's how we make really good progress. So that's what a dailies is. Yeah. Really good question.
There's easy shots and hard shots too, which you always have to remember. Sometimes you get an easy shot and dailies go smooth, and other times you get totally destroyed. And that's not always your fault. There's a lot of variables outside of the shot that you can't control. So you have to do your best to address the notes you've been given by your supervisor, because there's times too that your supervisor is going to get grilled and their supervisor is going to get grilled all the way up to the client level because somebody doesn't know what they want, or powers that be outside of everybody's control just demand that the shot is everyone's worst nightmare. And nobody can really control that. All we can do is our best. And that goes back to the professionalism, communication, teamwork, and being open to change and flexible and having flexibility. Okay. Last words. Let's go around the table. Yuki, do you want to start? You're in my top corner.
Okay. What should I say?
I want you to say the following. Let me write this. No. You say what you want to say. Tell us about, just tell us if you could say one thing to a current student. Or what would you tell them? Current student starting term 1. What would you tell them?
Oh, yeah. I bet if you don't know visual effects before you enter the CEA, you gotta be nervous. I know, but it's totally fine. And you're gonna have a lot of professional people, teachers, TAs help you. So don't worry at all, and just have fun on it and enjoy it, and then learn as much as you can, and find your favorite thing. And find your favorite thing, then just go for it, put efforts, and until the end, after 2 years, you will say, and looking back, will say, oh my gosh, how much I learned, how much I grow. You're gonna be so happy. Yes. And that is what I went through from CEA. So I guess good luck, and just always be grateful for everything, and always be hardworking, and you will be great. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Harry, Harshit.
Thank you.
Tell us, what do you got? What do you got for first term students?
I will just say this thing that, first of all, don't be scared that you're not going to land on the job. You got 3 years of work permit. 3 years, it's way too much. So everyone is going to be landing on job, first of all. Second, while you're in first term, I'm just going to say, if you know what you want to do and you're pretty consistent with it, that you know, or you're pretty determined that you want to do, plan from the start, because you didn't have 2 years to make your demo reel. That's lots of time. And if you don't know what to do, then explore, learn. Because I had so many, my classmates, they got to know what they want to do when they're in term 5 or term 6, just last term. They still got jobs. it's okay to not knowing what you want to do. Just whenever you get to know what you want to do, plan just right after it. Don't wait. That's it, what I'm going to say.
Horrible advice. I knew I shouldn't have chose you second. Kidding. Kent, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so happy just right after Harry. Yo, bro. So happy for you. So yeah, the thing is like, just like what Harry said. Actually, I start to do my demo reel just at the first break between the turn 1 and turn 2. My first Mustang shows up, right? So just keep everything in the plan, just for the brand new fresh. So yeah, just don't waste your time. If you got a time, just enjoy playing, enjoy walking, but don't waste it. Just be with your every single moment. Okay. And also the one last sentence that is like, if without you, Matt, we got all the classmates here. I got a Harry there. I got a Mel there. It feels me like bring back to the evening class for some moment. I just feel like I'm in the evening class. That was so great.
It's
nice
just that we don't
tonight.
talk much in the evening classes, Mama.
Basically, you have already fallen asleep and turned off the camera, man.
This was, I agree, Kent. This was, I feel a sense of nostalgia in a way. This is nice. Because you all worked super hard in your 2 years at CEA, and everybody at CEA we're still working hard, but those first 2 years we had something to prove. And thankfully, through you, we were able to prove that it works, that the programs work, and everything we're doing is right. So,
thank you so much. Like always, it's my honor to be a part in CEA.
Okay, maybe that was a bit much, but let's go on to Sydney and see what Sydney has to say.
Hey, I just want to say that the experience that you have at CEA is very unique, and you should really savor every moment at it, and just really cherish the moments, that the chance that you have, especially with your instructors, because they are really professionals with a lot of experience, and they are there just to help you get where you want to be. So, it's not every day you get a chance like that, but it is every day for you for the next 2 years. So definitely cherish that and work hard, and the chance will come to you.
Wow, this is like an awards ceremony. Like you guys wrote these beforehand or something. It's crazy. Ange, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. I'll like to keep it simple like this. Things take time, and if you don't see the results that you wish to see like a week after you started to implement this fantastic advice that other folks on this call kind of called out, just don't feel discouraged, because it may take months, but one day you'll wake up and you'll see your shots, and you'll just keep working on them, and then you'll just see them and you'll think and you'll know that they work. Just keep working, keep putting this time, and if you're consistent, and if every day you have a small victory, you just worked for as much as you can, and you know that it is your best that you could do for the day, it is a win. And just puff your way with these small wins until you reach the goal of a very big victory, as everybody here has done. You can have your own ways to achieve this, but this is definitely something that is universal across every specialty, and this is the thing that will get you rolling.
Wonderful. I think a common theme here is you need to have a solid idea of what you want your future to look like. But when it comes down to it, you just need to judge yourself against who you were yesterday, and not who you think you're going to be in 6 months or whatever. It's like, am I a little bit better today than I was yesterday? And what is my plan for today to continue that growth? What 5 things am I going to do today to make sure I stay on track?
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually those wins pile up, And like you said, in 6 months of doing that consistently every day, you're going to find you won't even recognize who you were 6 months ago, and you won't believe how far you've come. Mel, famous last words, go.
Famous last words. I mean, it's hard to top everybody off, what they've said here. All I have to say is to, current and aspiring artists, listen to this panel. Really listen to them. I mean, you have firsthand advice and experience that they've offered here today, and that's invaluable. Like it just goes so far, and take from what they learned, went through their journey and where they are currently in their journey. And just thank you for offering all the advice and, taking the time today. So I have nothing to add. I think the best words come from all of you. So thank you.
The last words should be the best, always the best.
Okay. I think it's bedtime. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We didn't have anybody from games here today. It's just Zoom only lets you have 6 panelists. So we're going to do a games one. I think that's cool. If you're wondering about games, there is a great video on our YouTube channel about the Advanced Game Development Program. And a great alumni, Alex Doe, joined us, and he talked for a while, and he had a lot of great insights. So if you're wondering about the games program and you want to hear from alumni, go check out that video. Scrub to his part. He's on fire, and he gives a lot of solid wisdom in that video. We're going to be doing more of these. We've got so many great alumni working on amazing projects at amazing studios. So we have a lot of people to hear from, a lot of stories to tell. And we're super happy we can finally do this now that people are, they have projects under their belt and they have stories to tell. So again, thank you all. We appreciate it deeply at CEA that you were able to join us and share your knowledge and your wisdom. And it means a lot. And it's inspiring to prospective students and current students to hear that all of this works, and they have a shot, just like you all had a shot at going to great places. So thank you. I'm gonna get this video up in the coming days. Probably. I kind of looking at you all, I'm upset that I have to edit this now because it gets tricky. I think I set the settings to record everybody's faces the whole time, so I'm in trouble. It's going to take me like 6 hours to edit this. No biggie. Okay. Oh, and if you look in the chat, there's the Walker's number and WhatsApp if you have questions. Programs at the CEA.ca. Can I even share my screen? There it is. Programs at the CEA.ca. Our website is there. Of course, we have an Instagram and LinkedIn. If you just type in CEA, you'll see a lot of these very same folks in our social media because they've been kind to share with us lots. So if you have any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to them on LinkedIn and they will answer you or block you, probably answer you because they're all so kind. And yeah, that's about it, right? Anything else? Can everybody at least say goodbye? Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Talk soon.
Thank you so much.
And there you have it. Great to hear all the stories of success from these amazing professionals. A huge thank you to Sydney, Kent, Angelina, Harshid, Yuki, and Melissa for taking the time to share your experience with us. For information about the Advanced Diploma Programs offered through our academic partners, please visit thecea.ca or contact programs@thecea.ca for more info.